Hello and welcome to the program. Caitlin, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
You too. It's so great to see you, Rechelle, and finally get to chat in person.
Yes, we've
Amazing.
been emailing and we're connected through Bijou, and we'll get more into that later. I love the work that Moseka Action Project is doing, and we will be talking about that. It's definitely something that I support and feel very excited and a great sense of gratitude for the work that you're doing.
I love that. I love Moseka's work too, and getting to do it is a gift.
Good, good. And we all have to use those gifts. So let's get to know you a little bit more here. Is there anything you want listeners to know before we get started?
Well, this is our first time chatting, so it's great to meet you. And I will say too, I might cry. This is just a little warning about Caitlin. I should come with a sticker, like I might cry. We're talking about things that I'm passionate
Okay.
about. Don't think you broke me, and I'm okay,
Okay.
but I might cry, and it's all right.
Okay, you know what? I think that first of all, the fact that you're willing to be vulnerable at all is wonderful. And the fact that you're owning it out of the gate, saying, this could happen. And I say, Caitlin, you need to come as you are. And if that's part of this conversation, then wonderful, because you're coming as you are. And you're already enough. Just being you. Okay, I
Perfect.
stand warned, and I may join you. I may
Okay.
join you. So there we go. What three words would you use to describe yourself?
Mm. I'm joyful. And
Oh, that's a great
I
word.
think joy is a center of who I am. Right now I'm reading Joy is My Justice by Tanmeet Sethi. And
Wow.
it's just speaking to me. Like everything she says is just really speaking to who the truth of who I am, and then how I see the world as a person who
Mm,
has joy at the center.
love
Um,
that.
I think I'm compassionate. That's a part of
Hmm.
it goes into a lot of the work that I do and my relationships. And then I'm a problem solver, huge like
Ooh.
Nancy Drew fan, and just like anywhere at work or at Moseka, at any time I want to solve the problem.
Oh, I like that because that kind of speaks to you like being presented with like information and try to make sense out of it. And if there's something to solve in that, or kind of put it in order and make sense out of it, then that you're the gal. So
That's me.
that's good. I like that. Let's see. Two truths and a lie. Have you done this before?
It's been a while. It's
I
been a
just think
while.
I think it's just such a fun way to get to know somebody. That's why we do it that's why we do it here.
Okay, yeah, definitely fun. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let me see. I am a vegan. I hate pickles and I love to sing.
Love to sing.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. The first two are food oriented, so I figured, oh, the third one she's going to go for food. But no, you threw me a I don't know what we want to call it there. Something different, something
Ooh, I'm
outside of the
hungry.
realm of, ooh, they're vegan who pickles love to sing. Ooh, okay. I sort of feel like you could be vegan, hating pickles. I don't know. Can you really hate a pickle? I mean, that's a question. That's a question I have. And then love to sing. Maybe it's like you really like to sing, but you don't think you have a good voice. So that makes you feel like you don't love to sing. Whereas I think, regardless of how you actually sound, and I'm serious, if you want to sing, 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 sing,
I
sing, sing.
agree.
Okay. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go, gosh, this is a tough one. You made it really tough. Okay, it's not like a big prize is awaiting my whether I'm correct or not here. Let's go with your vegan as the lie, just for fun.
Ooh, no, I am a vegan since
Okay.
February 2020, but I love pickles.
You love pickles.
Yeah.
There's a lie. You love pickles. Okay, that was so funny that you took something you love and okay, you hate pickles.
It was
Okay, you
hard to say.
love pickles. Okay. Okay, vegan. Gosh, I'm somewhat vegetarian just by virtue of digestive issues. So, it's hard for me to imagine taking it to the next level, which would be vegan. I feel like it would be extraordinarily difficult to travel, to go out to eat at restaurants without, having to get really back to Nancy Drew, how did you prepare this? What did you make it with?
That's fair.
Obviously, if you go to a vegan restaurant, problem solved. But not everybody, all your friends and family want to go to a probably vegan restaurant. So, okay, why vegan? How hard is it?
Oof. Well, I worked in animal welfare organizations for a while, and just being around them, it felt right to go vegetarian. And then I totally agree with you. I thought it would be so difficult to be fully vegan. And I gotta tell you, I watched this movie. It's called Game Changers, and
Okay.
it's about athletes who are vegan. And some of them are in the NFL, some of them are competing internationally, and
Wow.
they're just really dedicated to this for many different reasons. And so it seemed a lot easier. And I gotta tell you, it is easier than it
Mm.
was, back when I was in high school, I guess. But
Right,
I
right.
definitely have to do some problem solving when we go out, or sometimes I'll eat ahead of time and we'll just meet up for, ice cream or something. But
Right.
yeah.
Now, is there anything that you miss about like the jump from vegetarian to vegan? Because then you're talking about dairy, basically, right? Dairy
Hmm.
and I can't, anything that comes from
Eggs.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, eggs.
Well,
Okay, right.
yeah. I mean, no, actually they have some pretty good vegan cheeses out here. I don't know if they're in California, but yeah, I don't really miss that. I can tell you when I went vegetarian, I missed bacon a lot. I would dream about it.
You dreamt about it?
I did. It would be like falling from the sky. I'd wake up
Oh,
afraid that I ate it.
oh my gosh, that is so funny. That is so funny.
Worry about.
Okay, all right. I get it. And a lot of people will say they feel so much better taking the jump from being a vegetarian to vegan. Would you say that's true?
I feel better in my heart,
Oh,
Rochelle,
in my heart.
but
Okay.
I can't promise you I feel much more energy or anything, but I
Okay,
definitely feel
because then I feel like to make that jump from vegetarian to vegan, it would have to be reinforcing on some level. So the reinforcement for you is not necessarily physical, it's in your heart. And that's a
yeah,
different kind of reinforcement. Okay.
for sure.
Very good. All right. Let's see, our other, okay, we've got, oh, and you love pickles. So obviously pickles, you can have pickles. So you love them and the crunch and the sour and it's a whole thing.
And my husband hates them, so I can promise you, you can hate pickles, and you've got to find someone who hates them if you love them because I get double pickles for the rest of my life.
Yes. Okay, I just don't know how you can hate a pickle. I can see like, yeah, I don't really care for them. I'm not, if they serve it with my sandwich, I'm not gonna eat it. But the hate, how do you hate a pickle?
Strong word, you're right. Maybe he could be being dramatic. We all have our
Well,
moments.
sometimes being dramatic has its rewards. So, okay, there we go. We'll go with that. Okay, and then you love to sing. It's true. You love to
It's
sing.
true. Yes, my entire family's really musical and they have tons of talents and they can all sing and play instruments and I'm just singing. I'm singing along. I'm not
Okay.
so great
And
at
you
an
and you
instrument.
love it. And that's the joy, the joy, the joy, the joy. Okay, fantastic. Okay, I think we're up to movies now. Because I have to say one of your favorite movies of all time, meaning we all have lots of favorites and we don't typically categorize things, but something we could just learn more about you through today.
There. You've got mail, hands down.
Really?
Love You've Got
Okay.
Mail.
Really? See, okay. I okay, I want to
You
know
seem
because
surprised.
I am surprised because I think there are other ones, in my opinion, that are like Sleepless in Seattle to be better. There's just a few around that same time period. For me, that feel better. Okay, so what about it what makes it one of your favorites?
Gosh, everything. The music, the opening song is hilarious. It makes me laugh and I have to sing along every time. Dave Chappelle is my favorite stand-up comedian, and he's of course Tom Hanks' best friend. So that's fun. And
Okay.
I love Meg Ryan's character that she lives. She even says it, like maybe I have a small life, but she's honoring her family
Hmm.
and she's part of something that's bigger than herself. And then of course Nora Ephron love stories. It's just
Yes. The
perfect.
best,
I
the
love it.
best. Yeah, that she's so talented, very talented. Okay, well, I might have to revisit. I may have to
I hope
revisit.
you do.
Okay. Oh, that's so funny. All right. I like your reasons. I love that you're standing on your reasons, and that is very, very important. Even though I was surprised, there's nothing
That's
wrong with
okay.
that.
That's all
That's
right.
okay. Okay, a person that inspires you.
This is hard because there's so many women
Yes.
especially who I look at them all the time. I gotta say Joan of Arc. I wear her around my neck almost every
Oh
day.
my gosh. Wow,
She's
I was not
incredible.
expecting that. You're the first person that has said that. I can't. Okay, tell me more about that.
Joan of Arc is the youngest person to ever lead a nation's army into battle. And she was an
Hmm.
illiterate girl of 16, maybe 17. She died when she was 19. And she did it
Hmm.
all because she was following God's voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And it reminds me when I
Hmm.
wear this necklace, it reminds me to be brave and not to pay attention to what other people expect from me
Mm-hmm.
and to listen to God's plan for me, right? God's calling to just trust it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I love that, listening to God's voice. Okay. How do we know she was illiterate? That's a question. That's my investigative, not my
Ooh,
investigative, but I am a curious, like, problem solver. Like, how do we know she was illiterate?
that's a great question. You know, it was a very long time ago. She wasn't educated. Actually, oh no, sorry, Mark Twain wrote
Okay.
a book about her.
You're
Um,
kidding.
I'm not. He did. He wrote it anonymously, and now we know it was he that wrote it. But he did a lot of research
Really?
on it, and um, the book is not, it's written from her point of view, so
Oh,
it's not
wow.
factual. It's kind of based on uh, his interpretation of her life. But we know she wasn't educated.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. And how interesting that he chose to write it not as Mark Twain. Maybe people expected a certain thing from him and he wanted to sort of be outside of that. And but somebody figured out it was him. Gosh, that's
Fascinating,
cool
yeah.
too. Yeah, my gosh. I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much. And I love that. I love to learn. All right, a piece of wisdom you keep handy.
There's a lot of favorites, but this one is actually written on my wrist. I got it tattooed. It's from First John 3:18. And in my brother's handwriting, it says, in truth and in deed. And the full scripture is, little children, let us love, not with word or with speech, but in truth and in deed. So
Right.
it's not about what you say, it's about how we love each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Here, here. Okay. Wow. Gosh. I see we're getting to know you. We're getting to know you. And this is
You cut
so
deep real
fun.
quick, Rechelle.
I just love all of it. Love all of it because I just really want to appreciate each guest. Getting to know you to me is such like a really sacred honorable type moment. And I want to just genuinely say I'm really happy to get to know you right now. This is
Me too.
wonderful.
I was really disappointed last night. I was thinking, I'm going to be the one talking. I want to know more about Rechelle. So we'll have to connect more later.
Yes. Okay, so thank you for that. That's very kind. I kind of threw a pivot on you. I had a certain series of questions for the deep dive, and then I said, "Hey, wait a minute, would you mind doing this?" And you were graciously said, "Yes, no problem at all." So it's sort of our classic deep dive has to do with passion and purpose. And I wanted to kind of get back to that space a bit because we've had a lot of first time guests on lately, which has been wonderful. And so often that's how or why I'm meeting them, because of their passion or their purpose. And so I want to kind of deep dive into that. Now, what is purpose to you? What is passion?
Gosh, I think passion is the emotion, but more so, our feelings come and go, but I think passion sticks with us, and because of that, I would say maybe it's our calling, that
Okay.
the piece of us.
Right, that's beautiful. Love it. Okay, and what about purpose? Is that for, well, I'm not going to answer for you. Go ahead. What's purpose to you then?
Yeah, you're not easy. Okay, purpose, I think, is putting that calling in a direction and starting
Hmm.
to act in it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. Very nice. Okay, so what is your current passion?
Oof, my current passion. Well, my passion, I think, for my whole life is social justice. And right now, like you said, like you mentioned earlier, I'm working with Moseka Action Project, and just that journey has been incredible. But I think the passion there is getting to empower women and girls, and specifically women and girls in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is a place that's been on my heart for a long time.
Okay, and I want to find out how you got to know, like, how did Mosaic, first of all, tell us, because, if you're a first time listener, if you haven't listened to every episode, you might not know what Mosaic Action Project is. So let's tell them what it is and then how you found out about them.
Sure. Moseka Action Project is a nonprofit based in the eastern side of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, where there's a lot of violence. And we specifically use education to empower women and then children, vulnerable children in that area. And how I got involved is a long story. I actually, I knew we were going to be chatting, and I was asking myself, how did I get here? Why am I
Yeah,
here right now?
yeah.
And I traced it. I actually wrote out a timeline because it was all, for me, it was all happening at once,
Wow.
right? But I did. I wrote back a timeline, and it went back to one of my coolest hobbies, which is collecting stamps. I started doing that when I was
Wow.
little.
Wow.
Random, right?
That's, yes, that is random. Okay, you collect, oh, wow. That part of me wanted to say, do people still do that? But
Oh, they
yes,
do.
they do. Okay.
They do. But I started when I was little. I found my dad's stamp collection. I just thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And at the time, my aunt actually moved to the Democratic Republic of Congo. She was working at the embassy there. So my cousins went
Wow.
there. And when it came time for Christmas, we got our presents from the Congo. And it came with all of these stamps. They were huge. And I was so excited. I had never seen anything like it. I was like, oh my gosh, these are mine now. And they said Zaire on them, Zaire. And I remember I went to my mom and I thought, this isn't a French word. Like, what is this word? And she said that's what the country used to be called. She told me, there was
Ah.
an overthrow of the government and now it's called the Democratic Republic of Congo. And that means that I have a stamp, Rechelle, from a country that doesn't exist
Oh my
anymore.
gosh.
Isn't that, it blew my tiny
Wow.
mind. I was so excited.
Wow.
And in
That
my
is pretty cool.
imagination, yeah, right? Yeah, a country that doesn't exist anymore. And in my imagination, I'm like Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? The lost city of Atlantis. Like, what is this country that's not here anymore? And at school, we had learned to, do profiles on countries. So I looked it up, and it was not as romantic as my imagination, obviously. And I learned that the violence there, from overthrowing the government, it was still happening, and it was very complicated. And as a child, I couldn't grasp it. And to be perfectly honest, it's still complicated and
Yeah,
confusing.
yes, yes, got it.
So 2008, these two researchers from Sweden, these two women, published an article. So now I'm in high school. The article, I wrote it down. It's called Making Sense of Violence, Voices of Soldiers in the Congo. And that
Wow.
was like, I have to read this. This is exactly what I couldn't figure
Wow.
out earlier. And it's these interviews from these soldiers. And what I learned was that it's not the violence there wasn't really about who was in charge of the country or the name of the country. It was about these minerals and who's controlling these minerals.
Wow.
And the Democratic Republic of Congo has the largest deposits in the world of some of the most valuable minerals because they're in our cell phones, right? In the computers we're using
Wow.
to speak in our electric cars. Back then, we used to use digital cameras. I remember I always had these little things. Yeah. And the violence was from many independent groups, just really armies, armed groups that would fight each other and then fight with the civilians to control these minerals. And what they were doing was using women's bodies as battlegrounds. And I'm reading these stories in high school from their perspective, from the soldiers.
Mm.
And I'm hearing, I mean, I'll never forget those stories, but I'm hearing this all encompassing idea that girls don't matter as much, right?
Mm.
Here they come. Here are the tears. That they don't
Yeah.
matter because it lit me up. It made me
Right.
furious because that's not fair, right? For
Mm-hmm.
me in high school, I can walk home from, so I can go to school, I can walk home from school, have dinner, do my homework, go to sleep, and I'm safe. And I
Right.
knew from these soldiers themselves that girls everywhere can't do that. And
Right.
that's not fair.
It's very eye-opening, isn't it? Because I think sometimes we forget because we don't have anything to compare it to, but we forget how very fortunate we are.
For sure.
Wow. And it really, really touched you and moved you in this way in preparation for what was to come. So
Yeah.
how did you end up connecting then with Moseka?
Oof. It was a long and windy road, I
Okay.
gotta tell you.
Okay.
The timeline
Somehow,
is very long.
yeah, eventually you connected. Did you meet Bijou? Bijou is the founder of Mosaic Action Project, and she is the
That's right.
niece of Dr. Dennis Mukwege, who is I know he's the doctor, Nobel Peace Prize winning. I mean, the accolades go on, but his heart, and he founded the Ponzi Hospital, correct?
Yes.
And that's Panzi. That's how it's spelled. Yes, so she went and interned him for a summer, as I recall the story, and then really had a heart to want to help these women once they got out of the hospital. Am I remembering that right?
Absolutely. She saw it
Okay.
firsthand. Yeah.
Okay, she saw it firsthand.
And I
Okay.
think, like I said, I was reading these journals or looking it up. I was very much on the outside looking in. And I do remember I went to college. Of course, I had this heart for social justice, this heart for women and children and girls. And I knew, like, there's no way that this conflict in the Congo is still going to be happening when I get out of college, when I have, a career that I can
Mm,
influence it. But one day,
mm-hmm,
I can learn from what's going on there and see the resolutions, and then I can
mm,
take that knowledge and help girls elsewhere. And I just knew that it wasn't going to be that way, that it would be solved. It's been going on for decades.
mm, mm.
And I studied everything I could think of in college to help. I learned French, it's their national language in the Congo.
Oh my gosh.
That took me to a study of trauma, which took me to a study of yoga to be a yoga teacher, and now to my pursuit of master's in social work. And meanwhile, Denny Mukwege won the National Peace Prize in 2018, and I thought, now's the moment where people will see that there's a direct connection to these things that we touch every single day and what girls
Right.
are experiencing. So it'll be taken care of. And it wasn't. And that was 2018. 2019, Bijou founded Moseka Action Project. she just happened to reach out to an organization I was on the board of for just advice
Wow.
about, how to start her nonprofit. And I'll never forget that moment where I heard her name and that she was helping women and children in the Congo.
Oh.
Right? There's just these moments and your
Yes.
belly sinks or oh gosh.
Right. You're like, oh my gosh, this is for me. Somehow I get to help here. And it's
Yeah,
a get to. Oh my gosh,
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. So tell us, I think you've got an event coming up that we wanted to chat about. Tell us about that.
Sure. So today is International Women's Day, March 8th. It comes around every year. And
Okay, well, hang on
now,
a second, just so you know, we're talking and this is going to be out March 5th. So we're going to be
oh,
out
perfect.
a couple days ahead, which is intentional. We wanted to get the word out a little bit before. Okay, so tell us about March 8th.
So March 8th is International Women's Day. And this campaign that Moseka started is called For One Another. And we put it on around uh, International Women's Day. And it's based on this concept that equality and justice for women is not going to be given. That no one's going to show up and say, here, now you. Now we see you, we recognize you,
Oh,
and we honor you. Instead, we have to show up and claim it for one another. And that's the whole focus of this campaign. And what we like to do is just create space for women to come together. I truly believe that when there's women and we get together like this moment, that we're more than the
right.
sum of our parts, that there's something magic that happens. And we want to create space for those connections and to listen to one another, to get to know one another, and ultimately that'll commit to relationships that change lives.
Okay, tell me what that looks like. I love what you're saying, but I guess I mean sort of in practical terms, what does that look like for Moseka on International Women's Day for the For One Another campaign?
Right. So it's a little different every year, and anyone who wants to be a part of it can create these spaces for women. It's happening all over the country. I'm hosting a yoga event Saturday morning, the 9th, that will just be
Oh,
free. And if you want to make a donation, that's great. Most of all, we would love to have you with us from anywhere you are to practice yoga together and to just be with
Caitlin,
one
that's
another.
why you look so familiar. That's why
You were there
I
last
either attended
year.
it last year or the year before, whatever it was. That's why I was like, why does she? I mean, yeah, okay, yes, that's it, exactly. Okay, so you're giving women the opportunity to connect through one of your gifts, yoga, and or gifts because you've learned how to do it, and you can lead a class so that we can participate in that and just be connected and all of that.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So different people involved are sort of spearheading sort of different little groups, what have you, of connection.
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, tell me and see, now I'm curious, what do you do for Moseka? So you took this love that you were given very early on for a very specific place, even a specific time, because you were thinking that this is going to be resolved, and it hasn't been. So here you are, fast forward, you are now working, at Moseka, working for the children or the women and their children. So what do you do? What does that look like?
It's
Your
a good
work.
question. Yeah. I'm the vice president. And well, first I started as an ambassador. I called Bijou up in 2020 and I said, I just really want to help. And she said, oh my gosh, great, be an ambassador. And so anyone can do that. What I did then was I taught yoga and just told people about Moseka and of course shared about what's going on in the Congo and our work there. Now as the vice president, it's been a little over a year and a half. I get to really partner very strongly with Moseka and or with Bijou, another person who inspires me. And think through the strategy of the organization, look at the results of our work, and use that to inform how we can best help in the future. One of my favorite things about my role at Moseka is empowering our incredible team. We have an amazing team of individuals who are all volunteer, and they just use their skills, whether they're a CPA or they love social media, or they're looking for grants, whatever they are gifted
Hmm.
in, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
use those gifts in service of empowering others in
Wow.
Congo, and getting to know them and making sure that they have what they need and that everyone's on board with Bijou's incredible leadership is a gift as well.
So it's really, it sounds like it's really grown,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
past Bijou who started it, and now it sounds like it's growing. So I'm imagining with the growth has come the ability to be more effective, not effective, but reach more people with more help, I guess would be a good way to put it.
exactly. Yes, of course,
Yes.
we have incredible supporters, many of whom give monthly, uh, less than $100. And
Hmm.
with a considerably small investment when we think about our expenses day to day,
Right.
like you said, in the 5 years of Moseka, this is our fifth anniversary, we've just been able to expand the program so that we're providing for 33 scholarships of students in the Dream Come True program. And this year we will be providing their family empowerment program, which empowers women to start their own small businesses, to be
Mm.
householders and members, contributing members of their community. Will be accepting 25 women in that this year, which is the
Wow.
largest we've ever had. So
That
it's
is
truly incredible.
so. Is this how it works? The women leave the hospital, right? And then are they told about Moseka? I'm assuming straight away. Do they then go home and then go to Moseka? They go right to Moseka, or is it a combination?
That's a great question. So, like you said, we partner with the Pansy Hospital, and it's through its founding has really become specialized in caring for victimized women of sexual violence. And they provide very individualized care, medical and psychological, to heal these women. And then once they're um, released from the hospital, they find that oftentimes their families don't accept them back, that they'd no longer have a household to return to
Mm.
because of what happened to them. And
Mm.
now they're expected to provide for themselves and any children that they have in their family as well. And that's something that's new, that was never expected of them before. And Moseka's we partner specifically with the hospital to identify these women
Ah,
so that
very
they
good.
don't have to go home and find that they
Got
don't have
it.
anywhere to go. And we
Right.
provide that education about business and their health as well, and community building. They go through that program together as a cohort, so they learn to support one another, and then they are provided with finances to kickstart their business.
Right.
And what's really incredible, what we've seen in these past 5 years, is that once those women start their small businesses, they hire and employ other
Oh my
survivors.
gosh, that's great. Such
Beautiful.
a, yeah, that it really is. That's a good word for it. What, how, it's obviously a residential program, or maybe, yeah, it is. It's a residential program. I mean, they live there, correct?
For 6 months,
Okay.
often they'll be in the hospital, and then they'll return, or they'll live nearby to the program so that they can continue to attend the trainings and build their businesses.
Okay, so you're not housing them. You're providing support, but not at this time through the housing of them, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure how that piece worked, especially when you mentioned their families don't want them back. So it's like, well, now what? You know, like where do they go type of a thing.
that's a good question. And I do think it varies from person to person. And what's so
Right.
great about this partnership with the hospital and the school and the space there is that we can provide that individualized support
Right.
depending on
That's
the need.
wonderful. Now, is it Pansy or Ponzi? I always thought it was Ponzi, but it's Pansy. I'm not saying it right.
I say pansy, I've never been. So
Oh, and that was another question. Have you been to the Congo? Is it on your list to go? I mean, would it even be advisable for you to go? I guess is another question.
that's a good question. I think, when I look at social work and the effectiveness of, like you said, what I'm good at and what I am positioned to do. My privilege has put me in a position to help administratively right now. I do, I hadn't really had felt the need to
Okay.
extend
Right.
the resources to go, but I think through this process, I've started to feel the calling that eventually I should go there and just really see and be with these incredible women who are changing my
Mm-hmm.
life and inspiring me.
Right.
I think that's worthy. And so I'm excited to see where that goes.
Oh, that's great. Is there anything, Caitlin, this is such a great conversation. Is there anything you feel like you didn't get to say as we talked, as we kind of wrap up here?
No, I think I'm really grateful for you. I think when we think about things that we can do to help the situation, um, one of those things is what you're doing right now is just really sharing their stories
Right.
and sharing about what's going on and the
Right.
importance of showing up for one another.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's interesting, and I don't remember exactly how this went, and this was already going back a good 3 years or so, but just connecting with Bijou and having her on the show and just recognizing what a remarkable human being she is.
Yeah.
And then hearing, her story and her history and her love and passion and her just fierce commitment to this area where she is from and wanting to help all the work that her uncle has started and um, kind of magnifying the efforts in a way that was very needed. So I think she's remarkable, and just I think the fact that she's remarkable extends automatically to you. You must be remarkable because she chose you
I'm
to
gonna tell
work
her you
with.
said that. I get to be just as fierce as Bijou. That's awesome.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
Yes.
thank you.
And I tracing the hand of God through your story, really, I don't ever want to get tired or not moved by how he works. I want to stay in a state of awe and wonder. And the fact that very, very early on, he planted in you this love of stamps, this, all these just sweet little steps that he knew what was coming, and he just kept planning and planning, and it's woven this beautiful road forward to where you are now, where you've landed at this time to be a tremendous help and support and encouragement to people that aren't even in your sphere, but because the world is connected technology wise, that's one of the huge pluses. We get to help those who are not right in our backyard.
Oh yeah, we get to. And it's a
We
blessing.
get to, we get to, yes. Well, thank you, Caitlin. This has been absolutely wonderful. I just am so grateful that you're doing this work, and I really appreciate having you.
Thanks, Rechelle. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.